everybody, Steven here. For today's video, we're going to cover scales and progressions that you can do for mountain climbers. Now, one thing that I want to kind of distinguish is that the mountain climber that I like my clients to do is different than what I see other people do. The typical mountain climber I see people do, I call a boot camp mountain climber, which is where they'll go here and they'll just do this, right? Which is fine. It's just I don't particularly like that variation of it. There's a ton of different ones that you can do that I won't cover today, but for this video we won't be doing kind of that one. Now you could take any of the scales that I'm going to give and you could change it and use that if you want to, but the one I like to do is equal distance and equal weight on each foot so that I'm jumping and going like this because it's more cardiovascular and metabolically taxing. It's just a harder movement, right? I'm utilizing more of my legs in order to do that and more of my core. So here, jumping the feet, I have to pop up and go back and forth. Now, the problem with this becomes some people can't do this, whether that has to do with their mobility, flexibility, maybe weight is an issue, but they still want to do that. I have to give those progressions to my clients. So for this, we're going to cover some of the things that I'll do with them and that you can use in order to scale it and then slowly create like a progressive system so that you eventually get here. Now, part of that's going to have to do maybe perhaps with strength also, like I can't hold my body up as long. But if it is a flexibility and mobility issue, I had other videos covering like cool downs and stretches and hip stretches and all that, you're going to have to watch those and do that as a practice until you can slowly build up. Figure out what the limiting factor is. And you'll know the second you get in the position. If you get there and like, man, my back hurts, or my hip won't move like that, or my ankles won't. I have videos that will show you, all right, here are the ankle stretches and the mobility stretches and all that other stuff, the mobility drills, that you need to do in order to improve that. But you gotta play the long game with it. Don't do it 1 week and then expect there's gonna be a huge difference. You have to do this as a routine a couple times a week for months and months and months before you actually slowly start to unwind everything. Because usually it has to do with a bad movement pattern. So if it's taken me 10 years to create the lack of mobility that I have in my ankle because my calves are so tight, it's not going to take me 2 weeks to unwind all of that. It takes longer than that. So just be patient, okay? Now, first progression that we have is elevation, okay? Typically what I see is it's a lack of flexibility and mobility, so a person just can't get down into that position. So what I do is I elevate them, right? We might start with something smaller if they're there, and it would be the same movement, right? But maybe they can't do that either. Maybe they're up here, right? And then it's still the same movement. And I'm trying to keep my arm aligned. I don't want my body to slowly drift back here. That's putting too much pressure on my neck, regardless of which one it is. Now, let's say the jumping is an issue. I can't do that either. I still do the long stride. And I still might incorporate this, right? Because it's less impact. But what I'll ultimately have them do is I'll actually have them tap out to the side. Because this ends up being a plank and they're lifting the leg, using the leg, and ultimately their core to drift out to the side. So instead of coming forward though, I'll come out. If it's something that they're elevated and it's at this height, I might even do it here as well. Or I'm here, I might go here. Or I might actually force them to come wider. Because with that, I'm getting that stretch in the glute and then in the hamstrings. So kind of I'm trying to double down almost. Can I improve flexibility while still working on the exercise? Okay, so you have the scale of elevating your body, right? And I just have two, and these are quite different, but I might have something in my house that's an in-between that's here, or I might have something maybe a little bit lower than this because I can't quite get to the ground, but all they need is a little bit, right? Like a book or something like that that's stable, okay? Now after that, within these, you can still scale based off, am I jumping my feet back and forth or am I just raising them for right now, right? Because I might be able to do the jumping here, but it's still too easy. But if I come down here, I can't do the jumping, but I can do the taps, right? So then I can go here, okay? And you're not stuck to either, you can do a combination of them, right? So that you're slowly seeing, all right, I'm making these improvements along the way, okay? will help too. I didn't quite mention it, but knee mobility. Maybe somebody has bad knees, this just doesn't work, but I still want them to do that type of movement, right? If I elevate them, that is taking the pressure off the knees, it's also taking it off the back and the ankles, right? So these are the progressions that you can do for the mountain climber. Like I said, if you want to use this, it still can apply for the what I can consider a boot camp mountain climber, and any of the other variations, right? There's one where you bring your knee across the body. It's called a cross-body mountain climber. So actually twist side to side, right? I can do any of those here, right? Just keep in mind that elevation is the first scale, and then what you're doing with your legs. If you're jumping them, if you're bringing them out, you're just stepping them out, okay? Do those progressions, but make sure you're holding yourself accountable to, hey, I'm gonna make progress over time. It's a year down the road and you're still here and you're still doing the toe taps, right? You're not actually doing the jumping. Then you haven't been working on your mobility drills, you haven't been working on your flexibility drills. And I'm talking to a person that doesn't have like, hey, I've had like 3 back surgeries and 2 knee replacements and all that other stuff. I'm talking to your average person that doesn't have any of those on, their just knees maybe hurt before or something like that, okay? You need to make sure that you're making that progression in this movement and that you're not at the same spot, right? We wanna see progress, not only with our weight and our looks, but also with our movement patterns and our exercises and the things that we're doing on a day-to-day basis, all right? So if you guys have any questions, if you have any comments, if there's anything that you wanna see, I've done a video on how to scale burpees. If there's anything else that you want to see, let me know so I can make those videos for you guys and kind of share my knowledge base with you. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you've seen, hit the subscribe button for me. And hopefully I'll see you back here in a little bit, checking out some of the other videos and giving me suggestions on things that I can actually show you guys.